The Grand Egyptian Museum has finally opened up the Grand Staircase, so we're now one step closer to Cairo's new museum fully opening to the public. Let's check out the Grand Staircase and the other parts of the gem that are currently open so you can see what to expect if you visit the Grand Egyptian Museum during your Egypt adventure. I'm Gus with Egypt Adventures Travel. I make customized itineraries for trips to Egypt, I lead group tours, and I set up private tours as well. You can get in touch with me by going to my website, egyptadventurestravel.com, filling in an interest form, and then I can get in touch with how I can help with your Egypt adventure. Now let's take a look at the Grand Staircase from the very bottom all the way up to the top. The staircase is split up into 4 different thematic sections, and the gem has different statues and objects that go with each section. This first section that you're seeing is called Royal Image, and all of these statues that they selected for this section talk about how the pharaoh chose to have themselves depicted. So you see a bunch of different statues in this section, like a statue of Akhenaten, a statue of Hatshepsut, and some other Middle Kingdom kings. This next section is called Divine Houses, and it talks about the ancient Egyptian temple as the house of the gods. You'll see different columns, sphinxes, and other pieces that were taken from ancient Egyptian temples, from Middle Kingdom to New Kingdom, and even some things from the Old Kingdom. The next section is called Gods and Kings, and the statues and objects selected for this section talk about exactly what the title said: ancient Egyptian gods and their role in ancient Egypt and the relationship to the ancient Egyptian pharaoh. So just finishing up the Divine Houses section, and now all of these statues ahead are for the Gods and Kings section. These 4 sections were really easy for me to walk up because every single statue I stopped at took a little bit of a break, so having all these stairs wasn't that intense of a physical activity for me. But for other travelers who don't want to go up a ton of steps, there is a people mover that they can go on that I'll show later on. Then this last section is called Journey to Eternity, and it's all about what happened to the pharaoh after they died and transitioned into the afterlife. So things like the top of a pyramid or sarcophagi, other things relating to the death and burial of ancient Egyptian tombs. And once you get to the very top of the stairs, you see the bright light from the window, you're rewarded with this view of the Giza Plateau. So that's the entirety of the Grand Staircase. And if walking up a ton of stairs is not your thing, the gem has this people mover attached to the side of the Grand Staircase that you can use to go all the way up to the top, and you can also use to go all the way back down to the bottom without needing to walk up a single step. There's also a people mover for folks who are in wheelchairs that will bring them up, stopping at each section of the staircase. So now let's talk about what else you can see at the gem. There's a Tutankhamun immersive experience going on, which I got the chance to go to. And to be honest, I wasn't super impressed because I felt like the show was not very heavy on information or history, but was just a lot of interesting visual effects. So this is something that I would recommend people probably skip unless you have children with you, because I felt like the children who were in the show were really getting a lot out of it and were interested. But as for the adults, there wasn't a lot of history or information about King Tut. It was just a lot of really fancy visual effects in one room, and the show itself lasted about a half hour. So that's the Tutankhamun immersive experience. If you've gone to it and you've tried it out, let me know what you'd think, because I'd be interested to hear what people think about it who've gone and seen it. Other things that visitors can see right now at the Grand Egyptian Museum are the hanging obelisk. You notice this obelisk out in the courtyard in front of the museum's main entrance. And cheesy picture alert, I actually visited this obelisk 11 years ago when I was a study abroad student. That's me in between the 2 pieces of this obelisk in Tanis, where it was taken from. And then there's the statue of Ramses the Great, of course, that has been wowing people since the start of the gem's construction. We have another statue of Ramses the Great that you can see. This statue is over by Beano's Coffee, and it's a little bit tucked away, so you have to look for it. And then there's the 2 statues that show a Ptolemaic king and queen. We're not sure which king and queen that these statues represent, but you can check these out at the gem as well. Something else you can do at the gem is grab a bite to eat. I decided to go to Zuba for breakfast before making this video, and this restaurant is my top choice for folks to try out of all the restaurants at the gem. Zuba features great Cairo street food, but in an accessible setting with everything in English and everything hygienically made. This is an eggplant tamea sandwich that I decided to have for breakfast. In addition to Zuba, there are several other spots though that are currently open to the public, with everything from Starbucks coffee to a gelato place. So there are plenty of options to choose from, and there are going to be some amazing other restaurants opening up in the gem. Some of my favorite local Egyptian spots are talking about putting branches in the Grand Egyptian Museum, so stay tuned for the future of what this museum is going to have in terms of the retail space and restaurant spaces. But this just gives you an idea of some of the places that are currently open, like Starbucks that you see right here. The Gem's gift shop is also fantastic. And I'm not normally a big gift shop fan, but they've done an amazing job at the Grand Egyptian Museum curating products from all sorts of different artisans and different groups in Egypt, like Cairopolitan, for example, that makes really fun pieces that evoke the spirit of Cairo. And what you'll notice at this shop is everything has fixed prices, and the prices are actually really reasonable. So check out this little alabaster votive or vase here, only 340 Egyptian pounds. That's a little bit over 10 US dollars. If you go to other places that sell alabaster in tourist areas, the initial price they tell you before you start bargaining is probably gonna be about 5 times that much. So it's really nice to see this great selection of awesome products that are all Egyptian and evoke Egypt being sold at fixed prices, no hassling, and it's just great stuff. I also love these prints. They have these prints of the gorgeous Tutankhamun mask. Again, super affordable. This print is only about 6 US dollars at the current exchange rate. So check out the Grand Egyptian Museum gift shop for sure when you visit the gem. And in addition to the Gem's gift shop, they have Nefertari, which sells homemade beauty products. You can pick up soaps, lotions, essential oils here. And then they've got a bunch of other vendors selling everything from snacks to leather purses and leather goods to jewelry. So you're really going to be able to stop around and do some shopping at the Grand Egyptian Museum once it's finally open. But even though we're still in the soft or the trial opening phase, there are still quite a few shopping opportunities, like this place that does hand-woven rugs, for example. So definitely plan on spending some time checking out the commercial area of the Grand Egyptian Museum when you come and visit. To buy tickets to the Grand Egyptian Museum, you can do it in person with a Visa or MasterCard credit card. They do not accept cash, and you go up to this ticket window right here when you do the initial security check. But if you want to visit the Tutankhamun Immersive experience, I highly recommend booking your tickets online in advance so you get the time slot that you want. The way you do that is to go to visit-gem.com, tap on the photo of King Tut's mask, and that'll bring you to this page where you scroll down, select Arabs and other nationalities if you're a non-Egyptian, and then purchase as many tickets as you want for the specific time slot that you need. And the final question about the gem is always, when will the museum fully open? After getting numerous false starts and misinformation, I've decided to stop extrapolating on when the museum is going to open fully, because I will believe it when I see it, and I've been there and seen the museum fully open myself. I'm hoping it's going to happen sometime in 2024, especially before my November 2024 Essential Egypt Group Tour. Thanks for checking out this video showing the brand new Grand Staircase at the Gem. I'm Gus with Egypt Adventures Travel. Until next time.